Nobody drifts into the life they meant to have. So at some point, most of us make a decision about how we will spend our attention, our years, ourselves. And the decision by itself changes almost nothing. That is not a failure of will. Intention was never the kind of thing that could be decided once. The version we were handed is a configuration. Pick the values, clear the calendar, name what matters, and the life is supposed to follow from the settings. It survives because it's legible. A plan can be written down, and a written plan feels almost exactly like a solved problem. The cost is specific, and most of us have already paid it. When the arrangement stops holding, and it always stops holding, the only explanation left standing is that we are not disciplined enough. So we go looking for a better system instead of a better understanding. And the looking quietly becomes the thing we do instead of the life. Living on purpose is not a plan. The traditions that thought hardest about this did not treat intention as a decision at all. There is a line in the Pali canon where the Buddha defines karma, and it has nothing to do with cosmic bookkeeping. Cetanā, he says, is what he calls karma. Having intended, one acts by body, speech, and mind. Cetanā is usually translated as intention, or volition, or will. What matters is not the translation. It's where the word sits in the system around it. In the Abhidhamma analysis that grew out of these texts, Cetanā appears on the list of factors present in every single moment of consciousness. Not a resolution formed once at the start of a life. A thing arising and arising again, continuously, including in the moment we are in now. Sanskrit has a second word for this that reaches us badly translated. Sankalpa, built from a root meaning to shape or form in the mind. It comes to us packaged as goal setting, which is roughly like describing a river as a shape. In the way the practice is actually taught, a sankalpa is held rather than achieved. It gets repeated at the beginning and the end of a session, in the present tense, as a thing already true rather than a thing scheduled for later. The Greeks arrived at the same shape from a different road. Epictetus built almost his entire teaching on proairesis, usually rendered as choice, or the faculty of choosing. He argued that this faculty is the one thing genuinely ours, and everything else, including the body and the reputation and the outcome, is on loan. A faculty is not a decision. A faculty is something exercised, or not exercised right now. Notice what none of them is describing. None of them is describing a plan. Modern psychology found the gap from the other end by measuring it. Across a large body of work on intention and behavior, the finding that keeps appearing is that intentions predict what we do far less well than we assume. In one influential meta-analysis, medium to large changes in people's intentions produced only small to medium changes in their actual behavior. Researchers gave the finding a name that says everything. They called it the intention-behaviour gap. The interesting part is what closes it. The best evidenced technique we have is deceptively small. Instead of forming a goal, you form an if-then link between a specific situation and a specific response. If I am in this place at this time, then I do this. Across dozens of studies, the effect is real and not marginal. And the mechanism is the part worth sitting with. An if-then link works by handing the trigger over to the situation. The cue does the remembering. Which means the most effective planning technique psychology has produced works precisely by removing the need to hold the plan in mind at the moment of acting. There is also a decent account of why the moment of deciding feels as powerful as it does. Researchers studying what they named the fresh start effect found that aspirational behavior clusters around temporal landmarks. The start of a week, a month, a year, a birthday. Searches about dieting rise. Gym attendance rises. Commitments get made. The landmark seems to work by putting a line between the person we have been and the person we are about to be, which makes the old record feel like someone else's. That is a genuine surge, and it's also the problem in miniature. What the landmark supplies is a feeling of discontinuity. A feeling is not a mechanism. And the next ordinary Tuesday has no landmark, no line, no new self. Only the same attention arriving at the same desk. There is a second measurement that points the same way. In a study that sampled thousands of people at random moments through their ordinary days, minds turned out to be somewhere other than the task at hand, close to half the time. The researchers also found that people reported feeling worse when their attention had wandered. And their analysis suggested the wandering came first, rather than following the low mood. Put those two findings beside each other. Our stated intentions govern our behavior weekly. Our attention leaves the present roughly half the time. Whatever holds a life to a direction, it isn't the strength of the original decision. So where does any of this actually get met? Not in the planning. The planning has a particular feeling to it, and the feeling is the giveaway. An hour spent arranging a life is one of the most satisfying hours available, and almost nothing has happened yet. It gets met somewhere much smaller and much less dignified. It gets met at the moment we notice we have drifted. Halfway down a page we have not read. 20 minutes into something we did not choose. The small, faintly embarrassing arrival of realizing we have been somewhere else. The contemplative traditions were unusually specific about this, and there is a piece of vocabulary that gives them away. The word rendered into English as mindfulness is Sati, from the older Sanskrit Smriti. Both of them mean first and most plainly memory, recollection, remembering. That is a strange name for an attentional faculty, until it isn't. If intention were stored somewhere, it would need no remembering. The tradition named the faculty after memory, because it understood that a direction is not kept anywhere. It has to be brought back. And a thing brought back can be brought back again, which means the return is not evidence of failure. The return is the mechanism. Which is why the drift is not the interesting number. The contemplative traditions assumed the wandering from the start. In the instructions that survive, it isn't the fault being corrected. What gets trained and what progress gets measured by is how quickly and how gently the coming back happens. That relocates the whole difficulty, and it relocates it somewhere much more ordinary than a values exercise. The skill being described is not deciding well. Most of us decide well. The skill is noticing sooner, and noticing has no ceremony attached to it. No calendar, nothing to arrange, nothing that can be posted or shown to anyone. It happens in a second and leaves no record. Which may be exactly why the configuration version of this sells so much better. A plan is visible. A plan can be admired, including by the person who made it. The return is invisible even to the one returning, and it has to be done again in a minute. And there is no version of it that is ever finished. If that is right, then most of what we call failing at intentional living is not a failure at all. It's a category error and a painful one. We set out to hold a configuration, discovered we could not hold it, and concluded something about our character. But nothing was ever going to hold it. A decision does not persist. Cetanā arises and passes with each moment. Proairesis is exercised now or not at all. Sati has to be recollected because a direction is not stored. Every account we have of this, ancient or measured, says the same thing in different vocabulary. The thing we were trying to keep is not a thing that stays. What changes is what we count. If a life on purpose were a configuration, then every drift would be a debt, and the honest tally of most weeks would read as failure. If it's a faculty, the tally is different. The question stops being how long we held it. The question becomes how often we came back, and how much cruelty we brought with us when we did. That second part is not decorative. A return made with contempt is a return that gets avoided, and the practice ends not because attention is weak, but because coming back has been made expensive. None of this makes the calendar useless. It relocates it. A plan is a good servant of attention and a poor substitute for it. Scaffolding, not the building. There is an image the practice traditions keep returning to, and it survives the translation better than most. You are sitting. The attention goes. You notice it has gone, and you bring it back without ceremony, and it goes again. To someone watching, nothing is happening. Nothing is being achieved, and there is no arrangement to admire. But that motion, the going, the noticing, the coming back, is not the preparation for the practice. That is the practice. Thank you for watching, and for giving this the attention it has spent the whole episode arguing about. If it was worth your time, subscribing keeps these coming. A like helps it reach someone else circling the same question. And if you arrived somewhere different, the comments are open. Until the next one.